Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Guitar Talk with Todd here at Todd Beebe Music. Thanks for checking in today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it. Like, share, comment, all the good stuff. Find us on Facebook at Todd Beebe Music. Today we have another guitar review. This is a 1990 Gibson Les Paul Standard Custom Edition, or I should say limited colors edition. I'm going to show you the decal on the back in a while that came on these. This is a 1990 model, so it's pre-custom shop. The Gibson custom shop, there were one-off things here and there, and they kind of called it the custom shop, but the custom shop as a full-on thing didn't really get going until the early 90s, about 93. We actually have a couple of the early examples of those coming in real soon. So before 93, whenever they would do custom work, it was all done in the USA plant in Nashville. And this is one of the types of things that they would have done that you probably would have saw coming out of the custom shop a few years later. But this was called the Limited Colors series, came out in 1990. They did 6 different colors. 4 of them were standards and 2 of them were customs. Blue, which is what this one was. They had transparent yellow. I've seen it called. There was a transparent brown. I've seen it called mocha as well. Transparent purple, which doesn't really look too purplish. It's more like a pink color, but you will see some people call that purple, that color. And then they had 2 customs, which were red and also white. So it's really weird. You'll see these called both translucent blue and transparent blue. There's various terms all over the internet of what people have officially chosen to call them. The reason they go with that is because you can see the wood grain, which we'll get some close-ups of that in a while here, like we always do in the case. This particular guitar belonged to Jim Peterick from the Ides of March and Survivor. I ran into Jim a couple times over the years, and one time I asked him about this guitar. I said, "Did you ever own a 1990 Limited Colors Blue?" And he said, "Yes, I did own that guitar. I remember that guitar." He said that was a beautiful guitar. He just had to let some go at that particular time. I know Jim has a huge collection now. I'm sure he always has, but he was just thinning out the herd, I guess, at that particular time and got rid of this one. I picked this up in a shop years ago in Illinois, and the guy told me that. I just bought it because at that time blue was rare. This was quite a few years later, after 1990, when these were made, and Jim had already owned it, obviously, and passed it on. But blue today, you see, obviously the custom shop does those. There's been a classics and different runs that they've done in blue. But for 1990, blue was a pretty uncommon color, and that's why they called this whole series Limited Colors. They did 200 of each series. They had the blue, they had the transparent yellow, the transparent brown or the mocha, the pink purplish one. They had the white custom and the red custom, and they did 200 of each of these. This is the blue, obviously. But this really jumped out at me when I saw it, because at that time blue Les Pauls were pretty few and far between. So that's really why I wanted it. It's a great playing guitar. We've got more of this series coming in. I love this Limited Color series. Anybody that knows me knows I love the 1990s Les Pauls, period, especially the year 1990. And this is a prime example. These Limited Colors runs are just awesome. And so anyway, I went ahead and picked this up. And as I was getting it, the last thing the guy told me is, "Oh, that used to belong to, what was the guy's name from the Ides of March?" And I was like, "Jim Peterick?" He's like, "Yeah." So I kind of was like, okay, well, whether it did or not, I want the guitar, but that's okay. So years went by, and like I said, I ran into Jim a couple times, and one time I asked him about that, and he said, absolutely, that was my guitar. So pretty cool. I had Les Paul sign this guitar in the back too when I was around him one time, so you'll see that when I show you in the case. Beautiful finish here in the blue. I just love this. Like I said, we're going to get some more close-ups of it in the case. gold hardware on these, 2 humbucking pickups, Nashville style, 2 pneumatic bridge, stop bar tailpiece. Got the standard font up here in cursive on the truss rod cover, which was period correct. Gibson logo, mother of pearl inlays with the rosewood fingerboard. Like I said, we're going to get some close-ups of this in the case like we always do. And then I'm going to take it for a test run as well. But beautiful sound out of these pickups, which are just the standard pickups that came with them, with any Les Paul standards at the time. Really, the only thing different about these was the colors that they were putting out. Like I said, this was 1990, so it predated the custom shop, and this was a really cool run that they did at that time, 200 of each color out of those 6 colors. Let's get some close-ups of this and check it out in the case. Here we go. Okay, so here is the case for the 1990 Gibson Les Paul Standard Limited Colors in blue. This is the period correct brown cases that I always love. I love these cases. They're just, classic Gibson from that era. Open it up here. We got the classic pink shroud. We've seen that before. Definitely something that Gibson was doing during the 90s. For sure. And then there she is in the case. So let's get some close-ups here. There is, you can obviously see the gold hardware, 2 humbucking pickups. We got the Nashville style 2 pneumatic bridge with the stop bar tailpiece, typical 2 volume, 2 tone control. The light's really good there. You can see that wood grain, which is exactly why they call this translucent blue or transparent blue. Whichever one you you choose to use, transparent, translucent, but it's not a solid blue. You can definitely see the wood grain in there. It's just beautiful. Typical rhythm treble, 3-way toggle switch. It's interesting. You can see some things on here that I guess I'm going to blame Jim for putting these on here. Jim Peterick, which is kind of cool. He left his mark on here. It's got a couple of nicks and stuff in it. I did not put those on. I've had this guitar for years, but it's been babied. We have the rosewood fingerboard there with the mother of pearl trapezoid inlays going all the way up here to the headstock. Typical Gibson headstock. You got the Gibson logo, Les Paul model silkscreen, the standard cursive font on the truss rod cover, which was typical and normal for those times. Let's take a look at the back here, and we're going to see the Les Paul signed headstock. Okay, so the back on this is blue, too. It's a very dark blue. The lighting is pretty good here for catching this. Can also see the reflection in it too, so it's kind of hard in a way to see what I'm talking about. But typical mahogany back, but it is a dark blue. It's not just a black as it comes off. Same thing with the neck here, and then coming all the way up. The first thing I want to talk about is that there is the limited colors edition logo. They put that on the back of all of these on the 6 different colors that they put out. Trying to get it in focus here. Again, that was a limited run. I handed this to Les pretty much exactly the way I'm holding it, and that was how his signature came out on it. Yeah, I remember him saying something along the lines of, well, it's going to look like a mess. I'm like, well, I don't care. As long as it's your mess that you scribbled on there, that's fine. So it is pretty scribbled, but that was signed by the man himself. And then we have the Clusen style tuners on there that don't have anything on them. I was told that these were original. I've often wondered about that because they don't say Clusen or Gibson on them like you typically would have, but whatever, they work and they're gold and they look beautiful on the guitar, so I'm just going to go with the fact that they're original. But there she is. There is the back of that guitar. And once again here on the front, get a full shot of this whole thing here. So that blue just really pops out. It's a beautiful blue. They've done a lot of different blues. I know we have one coming in that they called Chicago Blue too, and that was put out many years later after this one. It's a much darker blue. I believe that one is kind of transparent too. You got to really look hard to see the wood grain on that one. These colors were more what they called, like I said, translucent, transparent, blue, and then you're going to see they have the yellow and the brown and the pink, purplish one. They're all coming in here in a while. And you could definitely see the wood grain through these. So just beautiful. It's a lighter blue that they used on these. And again, it's a 1990s series. So just a beautiful example of what Gibson was doing at this time. All right, guys. So there she is in the case. Let's take her for a test drive here. I'm going to play a couple things. I'm going to go back and do the old instrumental Honky Tonk from Bill Doggett, which I love, featuring the great Billy Butler on guitar. I always loved Billy, one of my heroes for sure. I collected all of his stuff on vinyl. And look up Billy Butler. He was a jazz guitar player and just did some awesome stuff. And he played the guitar you hear on a lot of stuff for Bill Doggett, but particularly Honky Tonk here, which is probably his most famous thing. So we're going to do that. I'm going to play Stormy Monday type of blues and just kind of let her rip a little bit, and then of course do some slides. So take a listen to it, you guys. The 1990 Gibson Les Paul Standard, limited colors in blue. Here we go. All right, guys, so there she is, the 1990 Gibson Les Paul Standard Limited Colors Edition in blue. Like I said, these are great guitars. They did 200 of each color in 1990, and they had the stamp on the back. These are just a beautiful example of what Gibson was doing in the 90s, and particularly that year, 1990, which is like one of my favorites, or probably my favorite, besides the glory days and, you know, back in the 50s and early 60s of Gibson. That 90s decade is just awesome. But these are great guitars. They're still out there floating around. You can find them. You can find a lot of people sell the sets. You know, they'll have like the whole set of 6 and sell it for quite a bit of money if you wanted to get them all. And a lot of times you can find one-off pieces here and there, like I did with this blue one. So anyways, beautiful guitars. Thanks you guys so much for checking in. As always, please subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it. Comment. Let me know what you guys think of these, or if you've played one or maybe one of the other colors. Like I said, we've got some of those coming in. Let me know what you guys think. And find us on Facebook at Todd Beebe Music. And thanks again, you guys. We really appreciate it. Stay safe and love your dogs. We'll see you again. Take care.